All right. So again, welcome and Happy New Year. The ELD mandate start date is finally past us, and enforcement to some degree is allowing for a soft enforcement of the ELD rules, at least for many states, regarding the fines. So thank you for joining us today as we review the basic operations of the GeoDrive ELD app in our webinar for drivers, how to use your GeoDrive ELD. We love it when you ask questions, and we'll have time at the end for you to ask your questions. But for right now, we're going to have your phones muted during the webinar. Feel free to submit any questions you have during the webinar via the text chat box. Today, we have Luke Killam, Glowstone's Information Systems Manager, here to talk about all the tech aspect and the using of the GeoDrive app. And we also have Dave Gray, President of Glowstone Trucking Solutions, here to chat about ELD and trucking regulations. So with the introductions out of the way, let's get started. We will begin with Dave Gray, President of Glowstone Trucking Solutions. Welcome, Dave, and you can take it away.
All right. Thanks, Luke. I just wanted to kind of open up this webinar with a couple of general statements before I turn it over to Luke, our IT guy, that can kind of explain the more technical aspects of the GeoDrive app itself. But you know, the ELD is new for everyone. It's new for the FMCSA. It's new for the states and their enforcement at the weigh stations. It's new for drivers. It's new for back offices, and everybody is learning the ELD at the same time. And I think, quite honestly, in some of the initial feedbacks that we're getting from drivers, you know, not all enforcement people are trained as well trained on ELDs as others. So we're getting a lot of questions. I think there's even situations that the FMCSA didn't even think about when they put in the ELD rule. And you know, I think they realize that, and they know that some corrections are going to have to be made and tweaks to the system as time goes on and these situations come to light. But for the time being, we're all in a new learning period. So the thing to know, first of all, is the rules for the hours of service have not changed, only how to record the hours of service. And what we're finding in conversations with some of the drivers initially is that they don't have a good understanding of the basic rules, which makes operating the ELD even tougher. So again, the rules have not changed. The ELD just records it differently than obviously on paper logs. So please understand, you know, that there's nothing has changed in the rules. The other thing that we're running into is drivers don't understand that in all cases that this equipment is very, very precise. So when you are up against a 30-minute break, you've got to take 30 minutes exactly or more for it to record it. If you take 25 minutes and say, oh, it's close enough, I'm just going to start driving again, the ELD will record it at 25 minutes. If you take 29 minutes and 45 seconds and start driving at that time, it's only going to record 29 minutes and you're going to be in violation. So the ELD is very, very precise when it comes to you know, the 30-minute break, when it comes to the 14 hours, when it comes to the 11 hours of driving or the 10 hours off duty. You have to, in the case of 10 hours off duty, you have to be off duty 10 hours. You cannot be off duty 9 hours and 50 minutes or it won't record it. So it's very, very precise, and you need to understand that that's how the ELD works, and to make sure that you get in your breaks and the 10 hours off duty and make sure that it's the full allotted time. The other area of preciseness is, again, you're dealing with computers, and drivers have to log in to tell the computer who is operating the ELD, and you have to make selections like this is the truck and this is the trailer that I'm driving. Again, using paper logs, it's just kind of assumed. It's very easy to write the truck and trailer number in, but if with an ELD, it needs to be selected. So the ELD is very, again, precise, and it's something that you just need to understand how it works in order to make sure that you are in compliance and not getting violations. So with that, as a little bit of an introduction, I'm going to turn it over to Luke Killam, who is our IT guy and has been answering a lot of the driver questions as they come up about the software app. So Luke, take it away.
All right, thanks, Dave. First of all, I'd like to apologize. With our lovely Oregon weather, I've managed to pick up a little bit of a cold, so every once in a while you may hear me pause and cough, and hopefully you won't hear that. If not, again, I apologize. Tis the season, I guess. So without any further ado, here we go. You should be able to see on the screen the GeoDrive App based on your phone or tablet. You can see there. This is essentially once you hit the app and start that up, here's what you're going to see. You're going to see the GeoDrive App, a place to put your email in and also your password. Again, most of this should be set up for you by Glowstone, and then you just type in your email address or username and your password and tap on login, and it should begin that login process for you. Again, most of this will be a fairly basic overview of how the system works, some of the tips and tricks and issues that we've encountered as well. So again, I'm going to kind of go through this, and then at the end, again, please ask questions because that's why we're here. So initially, it'll tell you to select a vehicle. I think selecting a vehicle is one of the major problems we've been having folks encounter. Essentially, what's happening is folks will forget to actually pick a vehicle. They'll think, oh, hey, I'm logged in, I'm sitting in my rig, it should automatically pick it. That's not necessarily the case. A lot of times, if you're nearby your vehicle, using your phone's GPS and the GeoDrive GPS, it should try to find anything within about 10 to 15 feet. However, since I'm in the office and the vehicles are in the back parking lot, I don't see any nearby vehicles here. What I'm going to do here, you can start tapping, just start typing the name of your unit or vehicle, and then it'll show up no matter how far away it is. Probably the most important thing is here making sure you select the vehicle. Again, if you pick no vehicle, that results in a lot of problems. What will happen is any changes you make to your status won't be assigned to a vehicle, and any of the movement the vehicle detects won't be assigned to you as the driver. So this is crucial to what you need to do. So make sure you pick a vehicle. So again, if for some reason your vehicle doesn't show up in the list, you can start typing in a unit number or the unit name, and that should show up here. So here's our courier. This is the Glowstone example database. And so I'm going to tap on that vehicle and pick that, and it's going to start logging me in. So we're going to wait for that real quick and see what happens here. We'll give it just a second to log in. And we'll hope that it decides to go a little faster here. There we go. Okay, so the next up in the upper left-hand corner, you can see where we select trailers. Again, if you're bobtailing, you don't have to pick a trailer. You can tell it no trailer. But if you're having a trailer, right now B6 is the trailer that I have attached to this vehicle. Certainly, if I want, I can remove a trailer. Just a little minus button here, I can remove that. So let's go ahead and I'm going to remove that trailer. And now I have no trailers attached. Either I can continue if I'm bobtailing or have no trailer, or I can attach another trailer. That's what I'm going to go to here. So here are previous trailers that are in the system, some example trailers. I'm going to pick, let's do my 5A trailer, and then I'm going to have a double one, and I'm going to also pick 66T for that. So I've got two trailers here, and I'm then going to continue on to the next. So next up is the verify log step. Again, this is important for all drivers to do, to verify their logs. This is part of that mandate, and something you had to do anyways by signing your paperwork. Again, GeoDrive will give you a reminder saying, hey, Luke K may have an upcoming violation. Chances are I was left on duty for this. So what I'm going to do, I can verify my logs. Now, you don't have to click through all these to verify this. There is a button at the very bottom. After you go through here, you can verify all your days. Now, you notice I have a bunch of violations. I am a naughty driver, but again, this is an example. Hopefully, none of your drivers will have violations, and we'll cover how to change that if there's an issue there later. But again, when they log in or log out, you want to verify your days. You have 14 days to verify these, the drivers do. And if the drivers don't verify their logs, it's something you'll have to handle on the administrative side and go in and back through the website and verify that and fix that for them. So make sure that drivers are verifying their logs each and every day. And that just keeps it from having to do, 3 or 4 logs like I have here. So again, if you're not feeling comfortable verifying those, you want to do that at a later date, you can skip it. But again, you want to try to verify as much as possible. So you hit verify, and then it says, I certify my data entries, et cetera, and hit agree. This is the same as signing your old paper logs. So again, this is very important that you do this, hit agree, and away you go. Here's another one, unassigned logs. So unassigned logs are not a good thing necessarily. Unassigned logs means these are drive time and on-duty status changes that are not assigned to a driver. So this happens frequently when someone logs in or moves a vehicle and it's not assigned to a driver. So again, you want to make sure to minimize your unassigned logs. If you're seeing a lot of these, like we have here, you may want to talk to your drivers or research if you're the lone driver. Did I forget to log into a vehicle? Did I log into the app, not pick a vehicle, and then start driving? This is probably what happened here. So again, you can claim these just by simply clicking on them and then scrolling to the bottom and hit it assign to me, and that'll go ahead and put those into that driver. The drivers could fix this themselves. It doesn't need to be an admin person necessarily. So again, the drivers say, oh shoot, let's see here. That was me driving on the 21st from 8:30 to 9:43. Those should be mine. So I clicked on those and I scrolled way down to the bottom and said assign to me. And then it tells you, hey, since you're taking these logs, this may change, how your hours and services are affected. Are you sure you want these? And, you can cancel or okay. Okay, so next up is the DVIR. Again, this is something that Geotab provides as an extra service. It's not required to be electronic. You're still required to do them, of course, but you're not required to do these electronically. So again, to clarify, you still need to do these. You can do these via the GeoDrive App, or you can do them paper if you prefer that. So looks like this vehicle, someone said that a repair is needed. You see the red button says, hey, there's a potential repair here, and a wrench icon. So let's go ahead and do this. We're going to check it out. Looks like it'll give you a summary of the previous inspection, tell you, when was it a pre-trip or post, who did it, what's wrong with it, and then kind of the mileage, where it was, company, what trailer. So looks like last time I did this, there's some, loose windshield wipers. So again, looks like I fixed those since there. So I'm going to say, got new wipers. And I hit repaired. And it's going to save that and change that status for me. We're just going to give that a minute to kind of update. Saving in progress. Okay, so then after that's all complete, I'm going to certify this as safe or unsafe, depending on the status. Again, in this case, this example, I'm going to say it's safe to use. Also, this is my new inspection for today. It gives me a list of common issues: brakes, parking brakes, service brakes, coupling, et cetera, all the way down the list. And then I can say there's no defects or add a remark. Again, that's up to you how you prefer to do your DVIR. Once I hit no defects, it's going to tell me to sign this again, just like signing your paper DVIRs. Do the same for the trailer. I'm going to inspect the trailer real quick. Again, the previous inspection will give you that. Needs a review. Nothing's changed. Nothing's good. Everything's good here. I'm going to sign that. I'm going to go through this again one more time for the trailers. Go through all the trailer items. Nothing's wrong with the trailer. I've done my inspection. Everything's good. No defects here. And again, I'm going to sign this by hitting yes. Okay, my second trailer, since I'm running a double, looks like there's a small problem. The tire was low. I'm going to say I repaired it. It's going to say who did it and who signed it. So if you're wondering, if you want to go back, you can always search for these in the previous too. I'm going to certify as safe. No defects, and hit yes. Okay, so now I am in the dashboard. It tells me I have 8 minutes left of my 11-hour driving limit. So again, this is kind of 3 or 4 different things you'll see here. The HOS portion right here, the DVIR portion, the messages portion, the vehicle portion, and the options. again, these are all different areas of the app itself that we'll talk about fairly briefly today. Probably the first one we need to do is you'll notice that since I'm currently on duty. So as soon as I start that DVIR process, it'll put me into an on-duty state. Since I'm inspecting the vehicle, I'm automatically on duty. Also, it'll tell me, if I click on that, a few things. It says, oh no, I have 0 time left. I have 8 minutes of drive time left, but I need a rest because I've been on duty for so long. So all your hours, as far as countdown, these are all countdown to various times. You can change your duty status just by tapping on duty. You can tap off duty or sleeper berth. Your drive time, you really shouldn't be tapping that on or off. The drive time will essentially automatically start as soon as it detects movement over 5 miles per hour. So again, you don't need to set your drive. Once you start moving, it should automatically kick you in within a couple seconds. So again, you can go on duty. That's totally fine. You can go off duty if the vehicle's not moving, and you can go into sleeper berth as well. That's what SB stands for, sleeper berth. Also, in the HOS kind of section, you also see, you can look at your old graph. This will show you, I've been on duty since 12 a.m. I went a little bit of drive time this morning. Also, I'm back to on duty this morning for this example. And it'll show my starting and ending ODOs as well. Your logs, again, this is a handy section to check out. This will show all your different on duty and drive time. You can also verify logs from this section as well. And also you can add a log and also note malfunctions within the device itself. One handy thing we noticed too, let's say I'm going to stop and get fuel right now. One way to do that is hit the little plus icon right here. My status, I'm going to be on duty while I fill up. The date and time, I'll automatically give it right now. I'm going to hit done there. I'm going to add in getting fuel. I'm just going to hit add right there. There we go. So now I have a note at 9:19 that I was on duty and getting fuel. It'll give me the location and date and time of that. So that's really handy for that. We do recommend everyone do that. Let's see here. Also, options. Options, there's a really important options in the actual HOS and then the options. Adverse driving conditions. We had a number of people with the snow and ice in the Portland, Oregon area. If you get stuck in traffic due to an accident or something like that, and you need a little bit extra drive time to get home, you can hit that button and it'll give you 2 extra hours of service for that. Again, this is something for, and Dave can speak to this more from a regulation standpoint, but you can't use this to extend your hours just because, oh, I ran out. This is something where really bad snow or ice caught you mid-trip, traffic caught you mid-trip that you didn't anticipate. So again, that's something you can hit, all you have to do is hit apply, and there you go. And that'll give you those extra hours. But use that wisely, as I'm sure roadside inspectors will be looking at that to make sure you're not trying to cheat the system. 2 other functions that are useful. Yard move, since the system does detect pretty much any movement over 5 miles per hour, yard move is more for something where you're parked, you're waiting for a spot, and they ask you, hey, can you move across? We need you to move to the other side, and you don't want that to affect your drive time. Again, this should be used sparingly, as it will be something noticed by the roadside inspectors and other inspectors as well. So all you have to do is hit start and then stop, and once you hit start, you'll be on duty, but no drive time will be recorded. And then you just hit stop once you're done with that. Personal use is also another similar kind of personal conveyance, I think is another term used for that. If you're needing to move the truck to go get lunch and you're not going to be on duty, you just need to move down the road a little ways to get some lunch, some dinner, or go to the hotel or something like that, and you don't want it to count against your drive time or your on-duty status. You can hit start once you move the vehicle, and then you stop, and then you hit the stop on this app as well. Again, if you change if you're starting the vehicle and stopping the vehicle multiple times, it will prompt you, hey, do you want to stay on this yard move or personal use? So pay attention to that, because if you do forget and you don't hit yes or no for that prompt, it will move you out of personal use into the actual duty status. So again, yard move, personal use, adverse driving conditions are handy additions, but again, need to pay attention and use them sparingly as well. Also in the options, it'll give you the kind of the information on who the current driver is. Again, Luke K, that's me. What time zone time zone I'm in and where I'm at, what rule set I'm on. And then at the bottom is also very important, transfer logs and compliance report. Probably one of the most important things for roadside inspections is this compliance report. You go to the options here, and then you scroll down and you hit generate, and this will show 7-day logs for roadside inspectors. Again, you don't want to show them this logs, you want to show them the roadside generate report, because this won't show violations or anything like that. Notice previously there was some red in there, but there's none now for this report. So again, for roadside inspections, go to options, scroll all the way to the bottom and hit generate. And that'll give you a visual thing that you can hand a phone or tablet to the roadside inspector, and then they can look through this as they want. All right. Going back to logs real quick, you can see the graph here as well. Now green means I've verified this log. Gray also means unverified, and this little red spot here, that means that's a potential violation right there. So that's something you want to pay attention to and take a look at. So scrolling back through here, you can see quite a few. Again, my logs aren't the best. I'm probably going to get reprimanded for my bad driving. But you see here, I've been on duty way too much. So there's a lot of violations here. So these logs have been verified, so they're green. But there's a violation. So you see some Christmas colors of green for verified and red for a violation. And then back into logs, let's say I really wasn't driving from 4 in the morning until 8:30. I want to fix that. So I just tap on that. So again, I'm going to tap on this status, just like that. And it brings me into this edit screen. Now I can change this by hitting the pencil and change that duty status to, let's say I was off duty then. I want to make an annotation. It's required to make a note to say, should be off duty. And then I'm going to save this status. So now, you see here, at 8:42, I should have been off duty. I just hit a button by accident or forgot to log off. And there should be an annotation here. Now you can see I went on duty at 9:19, got some fuel, and then I applied those adverse conditions previously as well. Drivers should be able to do that. I can verify those logs. But again, editing logs is something that drivers can do. And you can see here, like I've been on duty. Here's a mistake. Christmas Eve, I went on duty at 11:15, and I was on duty for like a day and a half. Obviously, that's an error. I wasn't on duty for 2.5 days. So I can click on that, click on the pencil to change it, or tap on it, hit off duty, forgot to log off. Oops. There we go. And hit save. And this should be reflected pretty quick. You can scroll down here. So now I'm off duty here. So that fixes some of my my potential quote code violations, even though that did not occur. So I'm going to verify that as well. And agree. So now, once I check out my paper graph, well, it looks a little more kind of, yeah, so it looks a little better there. So you can make these edits from the app itself. It's just a matter of tapping on the status. Now, a few things you can't do. One thing you cannot do, and this is per the DOT's regulations, I can't edit this drive time. That's due to the federal mandate. And again, there's no pencil here because this is detected actual motion from the vehicle. So drive time you cannot change or edit. Also, when you're in the personal conveyance or yard move, you cannot change that as well. And you cannot apply those personal conveyance or yard move after the fact. So you must do it then and there. You can't go back and change that. So that's also an important thing to say about these options. Okay, so we're pretty much done with the DVIR, or excuse me, with the HOS portion. So I'm going to go back to the dashboard here, and I'm going to cover the DVIR. We kind of covered, how to do that, and that'll show the most recent inspections. I can go back and look at that if I need to, but that's fairly basic. And again, we saw a lot of that when we actually did them. Another thing is, if you notice up here in the right-hand corner, you see the little exclamation point. This does cause a lot of people to panic. I guess the big thing is don't panic too much. So tap on here, and you can see the vehicle is connected, Geotab Drive is connected, and my GPS is connected. If any of these are red, that's not the end of the world, and certainly we can walk through that. Probably the biggest thing to pay attention is make sure the vehicle is connected. That means the GPS device in the Geotab is connected to your vehicle and is working. If this is red, go ahead and call Glowstone and well, I guess first is double check to make sure it's still plugged in, make sure it hasn't been kicked and knocked out loose or anything like that, and then give us a call and we can troubleshoot that. Now, this one right here, see, Geotab Drive connected. Occasionally this won't show up. What this means is it means that your phone or tablet that you're using right now isn't connected to the internet or has a kind of a wonky connection. It's not be able to connect too much. That's okay as well. Any duty status changes you make will be saved locally, and then once it gets a connection via a cell phone or Wi-Fi, we'll then upload and make those status changes for you. And lastly, the GPS connected right here. This means that your phone or tablet's GPS is connected. Geotab does recommend everyone's in kind of that high fidelity or the high GPS signal, and that's some settings you'd have to go in and discover on your iPhone, tablet, or Android device, and that's in your GPS settings. So if that's red, it just means you got to turn up your GPS settings to be a little more accurate. Now in this case, since I'm on a desktop, it doesn't show it, but there can be a fourth one that is the power. Whenever you're using a phone or a tablet, if it's red and not plugged in, it'll say like power not plugged in or power supply. So make sure if you see a fourth one right here, just make sure your device is plugged in. And again, that just because it's using a lot of GPS data, it doesn't want to drain your battery, so you can't make those duty status changes at the end of your day. Okay. Also, you can see on your vehicle, I'm currently logged into the Courier. My trailers are 5A and 66T. You should always see a vehicle here. If you're driving, you should definitely see a vehicle here. If not, you can tap on here, and then you can select or change a vehicle. Also, I can remove trailers or attach new trailers here. If I want to create a new trailer, let's say it's not in the list of trailers, I can hit New here, and I can do Demo Test Trailer, Comments, New Trailer 2018, and I can hit Add. Now this will show up in the list once it's saved. So now I'm a triple trailer. Also, shipments. You can add shipments from this screen. So if you have a shipment, shipper name, Tesco Inc., commodity, we're going to go computers, and my document number is 12345. So that's how you add your shipment info, and you hit Add. This will keep track of your shipment status as well, or what's in your shipment. Again, that's from your assets screen. That's right here. So you can add those shipments right from the courier, or from the vehicle name, excuse me. Okay, and then from the dashboard, there are another options screen from the dashboard. Click on the little gears icon right here, or tap on it. Now, if you're noticing like, hey, this seems like all my stuff isn't updated, you can always click on right here, check for updates. It'll refresh and synchronize the data that's in the cloud. All the data for Geotab on the actual device plugged into your vehicle and everything in your tablet or phone is always synced via the cloud up on the web. So you can always synchronize that. Tap right here. It'll start kind of think about it. You can see that, and it's going to change all that. Also, you have the option to change your password. If you've got a really long password, you want to have something a little different, you can change it right here. And then your company name and the units should all be here. So those are your settings. Another useful thing, if you're co-driving, this is something we've seen a lot of, is you don't want to have two separate tablets. If you're co-driving, you're going to share the same tablet or phone. And the way to do that is you tap on your name, and then we add a driver here. So once you hit that, you're going to hit Add Driver, and then someone else will log in with their username and password. Once they do that, that'll show two names up here. So you have Luke K, and then we'll have like Bob C below that. Now Luke K has the driver symbol with it. So you have the little steering wheel. That means I'm in the driver's seat. And if Bob was below me, Bob would not have that. And there would be an option to switch Bob to the driver. So again, co-driving is an option, and it's built in. You just hit Add Driver. That second driver will log in, and then you'd see two names on there. No need to have one person log out and then a person log in on the tablet. You don't need to do all that. It's set up already to do co-driving pretty simply. All right. Again, some common issues that we've seen is probably the most important one is forgetting to log into a vehicle. Before you start driving, check on your tablet and make sure you have that vehicle here. If you do forget and you notice it, it's totally fixable. You're not out of drive time. We can help you fix that. Again, and probably the best way is to go to HOS, go to your logs, and then kind of look for those like, hey, I was on duty for 24 hours, that's not correct. And then tap on that and change that status like I showed you earlier. Also, from the personal use, I talked about a little bit earlier, our yard move, make sure you do it, hit those buttons prior to doing any of those things. You can't go back and retroactively change personal use or add a yard move. You have to do it then and there. If you forgot to do it, you're kind of out of luck. So again, it's really important that you do it that way prior to it. Other than that, the driver, so there's some really good video that's very similar to what we've covered from Geotab itself. It's about a 15-minute video. I would recommend giving them all that, the basics. We'll put that in the chat here in a little bit. And then also the driver must have, there's a 2-page guide. This is a requirement from the DOT to have some sort of documentation on how the system works. This is something that you are required to have in your vehicle along with your Geotab drive. So we'll put a link to that in the chat as well. And if for some reason you can't get a hold of that, contact your Glowstone agent, and we can certainly get that to you. I believe there's English, Spanish, and a few other languages available, so feel free to ask about that as well. Looks like it is in the chat. Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Kibbe. Other than that, I've covered most of the Geotab Drive app. If you have questions, now's the time.
So Luke, I'd like to just kind of reiterate, I know editing and fixing mistakes comes up quite frequently, and as you pointed out, it can be done, but you can only edit sleeper berth, on duty, or off duty. So if you try to edit a drive time while you were driving, it will not allow you to do that. So that tends to be confusing for some folks, but typically what happens is you're driving, you end your day, you forget to log off. The system, because you forgot to log off and you're not moving, will put you into on duty, and then it'll show you on duty as you take your 10 hours, and then you'll get up in the morning and find that you've got no hours left because you were put into on duty. You didn't select off duty. So that can be fixed. You can go back and fix your on duty and change it to off duty to correct it, but you cannot go back and correct any kind of drive time. So Luke, were there any questions that came up?
As of right now, no one's put in any questions. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to write them down. We'll wait just like 2 more minutes to see if there's any questions. We will make this, we recorded the presentation, so we'll make this available online as well. When I get the recording ready, probably just in a couple of hours, I'll email everybody the link to the recording. I'll give you guys all the link to the Geotab 2-page ELD guide and to the Geotab's other Geotab Drive app video. I'll give you a link to it in English and Spanish as well, but I'll be sure to send out the recordings because Luke Killam did a great job covering all the details and different interesting things that I'm sure if you wanted to practice or double check that you'll have that available to you. I don't see anybody typing in the chat box. So with that, thank you, Dave, and thank you, Luke, for going over the Geotab Drive app for us. If you aren't a driver and you're a fleet manager and you got other drivers that are going to be joining the or getting a Geotab, feel free to either reach out to Glowstone and we can help them get set up, and we'll have this presentation also available to be able to watch to help with the training. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the presentation. Look for your emails for the link in the video recording of the video. And with that, thank you everyone, and have a great and happy new year.